Hi, Ray. Thank you for joining us today for SHAPERZ session. It's so fabulous to have you here today. Now, for those joining us, SHAPERZ is a virtual tech event that encourages small and medium-sized businesses to optimize cost through digital transformation. So we're very excited today to have with us a very special speaker today. We have Ray Chan, and he is the CEO and co-founder of 9gag. Welcome, Ray.
Thanks for having me.
It's so terrific to have you here. So for those that don't know, 9gag is based in Hong Kong and serves up memes, GIFs, and videos, making content ultimately go viral. So you have a global cross-platform, a digital and social media network with over 150 million users. Yes, that's right, 150 million users. It's quite astounding. You predominantly appeal to the Gen Z and millennials, those 18 to 24-year-olds we all want to connect with, and with 40 million Instagram followers. Yes, that's right, 40 million. 15 million on Twitter. Also distribute 2.2 billion social video views on a monthly basis. And you're among the top 300 websites in the world. So first and foremost, congratulations, Ray. They are huge numbers. You must be quite happy with where you are in your journey so far.
It's okay. Always can be better.
Always can be better. This is true. This is true. But I'm pretty sure you're doing quite well. So firstly, and maybe most importantly, how did 9gag grow from a local online platform, which you were, to a community of 150 million users? So I know there's probably a long answer to that, but we'd just love to know, how did you do this?
We started the website in 2008, so it's been almost like 12 years since we started 9gag. I would say if we have to sum up the so-called success formula, I would say it's the hard work of our team and also luck. Yeah, but basically we just keep working and keep changing, keep improving.
Yes, keep innovating. So you've been known to say, and I've got a few quotes here because I kind of stalked you online, so to speak, but you've said that in the end, everything is a gag, and you have a mission to make the world happier. Can you share with our viewers today, like, how you started 9gag originally? Because my understanding is it was more a site for you and your friends to like upload funny content. And then in 2011, correct me if I'm wrong, you decided, hang on, we're kind of onto something here, and decided to raise capital. And here we are today. So I think you have even like 180 team members, which is astounding. And you're truly a global company. So can you tell us kind of a little bit about, I guess, when the point came when you realized, hang on, we're onto something, and yeah, the journey so far?
Yeah, sure. First of all, we only have about 30 teammates. Yeah, I think don't believe everything you read from the internet. Yeah,
there you go.
And so we are still a pretty small team, and but we have a very big audience base. We, as mentioned before, we started the website in 2008. At first, it was like a side project because at the time, it was very inconvenient to share funny pictures, or not to mention a funny video. You still remember the time there was an MSN Messenger or AOL Messenger, right? You still have to...
I do remember that, unfortunately.
Exactly. Yeah, and you also have those funny chain email that, hey, you have to send this email out, otherwise you will have bad luck, right? Those were the days, right? And then at the time we thought, hey, maybe we can create something easier for people to just upload the content, and then they can just send out the link instead of forward a very long email. Yeah, that's how the idea started in 2008. Me and my four other co-founders, and then we were friends, and one of them is my younger brother. And then we just found our leisure time and create a project. And then we just keep uploading funny content and then share it with our friends. At first, we just send funny photos, funny links to my parents, my family members, right? And then we ask our co-founders to also send it to their friends. That's how we started. Until 2011, we thought, hey, if we want to focus on growing the business, growing the company, maybe we need to get some help. That's why we apply for a few accelerators in the Silicon Valley. One of them is 500 Startups, another one is Y Combinator. And then we are lucky to get into both of them. That's how we started to learn more how to build a tech company and also we raised a seed funding in 2012. Yeah, and then after that we come back to Hong Kong, and then we continue to build our company.
Fantastic. Well, it's quite the journey. You know, I guess I want to speak a little bit about also, like, because it sounds like it's been an easy journey. And like you said, it's been hard work. There's no easy path to success. But what are the challenges for 9GAG, like, to remain successful? Because it's such a changing environment. And, you know, today, obviously, when you started out, there weren't so many like gift sites and meme sites. Now there are. So I guess, how do you kind of keep relevant? You know, obviously it's snackable content, which people love these days. I mean, the need for it, let's face it, our attention spans are depleted over the years, and we really want fast content. So yeah, I guess my question is, like, what's the key ingredient for staying relevant and, I guess, ahead of the game?
I would say staying young or staying relevant is probably the most challenging things in business and also in life, right? That's how all those cosmetic companies tries to sell all the customers, right? I think for us, what we try to do is we don't believe that we know everything. We try to embrace the young and new generation. For example, I'm now 30-something years old, and then I'm no longer the target audience of 9GAG, but most of our team members, they're like 18 or 20 something. That's how we can keep in touch with the new and younger generation. So we believe the future is in the young generation. That's why we hire them, and then we work with them, and then we ask them to help us to build a website, to build the content, to build a community. That's how we try to stay relevant, is to attract and get more new blood into the company to make sure that our company itself stays young. Yeah, I think that would be the number one thing that we do.
Super important. So in an interview you did in 2017, you mentioned that, like, social media is the base layer, and that brands can build on top of that, so to speak. So back then, I believe your team was like 50% engineers. So my question is this still the case? And if not, what kind of mix of team do you have at 9GAG?
I think social media is kind of like a new version of media, right? Because basically nowadays, when you go to Facebook or other social media account, you see all kinds of content, including news and then entertainment and then funny cats or dogs videos, right? I think those part is just the basic layer, which is the content. And then for the direction and then for the features, you still depends on the need of the users. That's why you try to build something that fits their needs. As we mentioned before, because the attention span is getting shorter. That's why we have stories, and then we also have a GIF, so that, hey, you don't even want to spend time to watch a video, then you just watch a 3-second GIF. I think those are the evolution that we see over the years here. And then referring to your question, right now we have about 30 people in our team. I would say the combination is about 1/3 is a product and engineering team, and then about 1/3 is the content editor, and then the other 1/3 is operation and also sales. Yeah, because nowadays, not nowadays, because business needs to make money, right? That's why we need to have salespeople to make sure that we can also get some revenue to continue the website.
Absolutely. And I want to talk about that in a moment, like what your revenue model is. But I just want to touch upon, and you did mention it, that one of your co-founders is actually your brother. And without going into too much, I just would love to know, like, your advice on, like, having a family member in your co-founding team, and the importance, I guess, of family accepting what you're doing. Because I can imagine in 2008, if you turned around to your parents and said, hey, I'm doing a startup about uploading jokes to the internet, they may not have taken you seriously. So any advice you have for, like, how to navigate that area with getting your family on board?
I think in Hong Kong, most parents, they don't really understand what is a startup. For example, in our case, I come from a humble family. My father was a cook at a fast food restaurant. My mother is a housewife. So, and I have a younger brother and also a younger sister. Both of us goes to schools in Hong Kong, and then we go to University of Hong Kong. I study law, my younger brother study architecture, and then my younger sister, she studied medicine. Yeah, so out of 3 of us, me and my younger brother, we didn't really study at university. That's why we didn't continue to become the professional that we should be. Yeah, my younger sister still is a doctor today. Thanks God. Yeah, but I would say that for family support, I think it's really important. But in Hong Kong, maybe the support is not really a very positive kind of support. It's more like, hey, I'm not against you working on this idea. It's already a big support. Because in traditional Chinese society, I would say that a lot of parents, they have certain expectation for their kids. Yeah, for example, in our case, hey, we study some professional subjects, but we didn't become a professional. But our parents are okay with that. So I would say not against it. It's already a big kind of support. Not to mention, when we first started the company, we work at our very small home in Twin Moon. I would say like 300 to 400 square feet. Yeah, so it's a very small space. So when we started to work, we got 5 guys in our home, and then our parents sometimes they would go out so that they leave more space with us so that we can work without distraction. So I would say that kind of support is we are very grateful to have that, especially when we start the company.
Absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be monetary. They can support you in other ways, which is brilliant. So to accelerating now to today, and the last year, I guess, and the pandemic, which we all know about, has this slowed your business model? And what are the fundamental changes, I guess, you've noticed? And how has 9GAG adapted to these?
Due to the pandemic, I would say that the world has changed even faster. Yeah, for example, nowadays, especially in Hong Kong, in the past, people didn't really go to online shopping that much, especially for grocery, right? They still go to supermarket to buy grocery. But these days, a lot of them use online shoppings, for example, like HATV Mall and other online website. Yeah, I think that indeed the pandemic helps the tech companies, including 9GAG, to accelerate even faster. For example, when you have to stay at home and then you can't go out due to quarantine, you have nothing to do, right? There are so many movies that you can watch on Netflix, but sometimes, hey, you just want a break, right? That's why they may browse 9GAG, they will browse other website, and then that helps our business as well. So somehow, even in the last year, maybe the general economy is not doing that well, but somehow for 9GAG, our users and our revenue have both grown. Yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, that's good to hear. And you once spoke about how Chinese-based companies can innovate. Again, another quote I found of you from one of your conferences in the past, but that Chinese companies based companies can innovate much faster than Western companies, and that there is nothing wrong with copying. And when we say copying features, not like copying full business lines, but features and adapting fast and innovating fast. With that said, like looking at your site, you're such a strong community, yeah. And there's strong communities, maybe the likes of Reddit and things like that. I see some similarities in what you guys do. I specifically love that your users are your biggest brand advocates, right? So on that, and your features are brilliant. You build this kind of layer of trust. You have these features like ask guys, ask girls, secrets and confessions. So I just wanted to touch upon those elements, how you create trust with your community, and I guess how that ultimately builds like longevity and like customer loyalty.
I think in the modern world, trust and attention, they go hand in hand. So if you can create more trust, people pay attention to you. And then when they pay more attention to you, and then they will give you more trust. So for us, we try to build the trust by putting our users first, so that they know that, hey, although we are a business, we have to make money, but we still care a lot of user experience. We still care a lot about how to build a healthy community. I think those are the things that you have to, it takes some time for them to believe in you, because you can build a app or website very easily these days. But how can you continue to get users and then get their confidence to submit their content to you and to leave a comment on your website? I would say that takes some time. But somehow, just like a saying in Chinese is, hey, if the time is long enough, basically you can see whether that guy is a good guy or a bad guy. I think for us, it's kind of like that. Yeah.
Interesting. No, it's definitely intrinsic to your platform. So I was very interested in that. And I wanted to know, like, memes are very topical. Yeah, you're kind of like a news site. Like, what's a meme today? What's hot today? Rather, is not so hot tomorrow. So how do you keep on top of that? Like, do you aggregate certain memes? Like, how do you guys know what's going to go viral and what you kind of shift to the top or whatnot?
I think meme by itself is like temporary, right? It gets hot in a very short time, but it also goes away in a very short time. Yeah. So for us, we focus on the things that don't change. Instead of focus on what is the latest funny meme, right? For example, we spend most of our efforts in hey, making the website faster, making the app faster, hey, making the user experience better. For the meme itself, as long as we create a tool for the users, they will upload the latest meme. They will also discuss and then comment on the latest meme. So we don't really spend a lot of effort on that. Of course, we have our editors, we have our social media team to kind of like curate the meme so that and also curate some interesting posts in order to share on the social media platform. For those teammates, they have to stay updated with the latest development of memes and stuff like that, right? But in general, when we think about the product, when we think about the business, we focus on the things that don't change. That's what that means. Hey, maybe 2 years from now, 5 years from now, what are the things that people would still want? For example, a faster website, right? A better user experience, right? I think those are the things that we know that if we invest in our resources, if we invest our time, we can make sure that those things are the users will still care about those things 5 years later. I think that would be a better way for us to think about the business.
Yeah, that's very clever. Yeah, focus on your infrastructure, so to speak, and the content will come as it changes. So given like the 9gag is ultimately an online platform and social network, if you will, we use the generated content, and your tagline, which I love, is "Go fund the world." So how have you gone about like building the platform, I guess, for different markets, and what is your, I guess, like, do you see more similarities or differences between, say, a US audience and a China-based audience? And how do you kind of go about, I guess, mapping it for different audiences?
Yeah, sure. I think different countries, of course, they have different cultures, right? But one thing that I would say one insight that we have seen and developed over a decade is for the young generation, for the youngsters, their taste, their culture are very similar across the world. For example, before college, right, or before graduation, basically we care about the same thing. Hey, too much homework, right? How to get a girlfriend, how to get rid of my girlfriend. Parents are very annoying, right? And then how can I cheat the test without getting discovered, right? I think those are the things, those are the common topics that the same generation cares about. And then for us, that's why, as you mentioned in the introduction, right, we focus a lot on the same generation, especially the younger generation, so that, hey, we know that we just have to focus on those areas, for those topics, instead of, hey, we have to develop a lot of categories, a lot of topics, because I think it's really hard to catch up, because when we graduate, due to the society that we live in, for example, maybe in the US and in Hong Kong, the expectation and then the job opportunities are very different. That's why the adults, the audience, they change over time. But if we target mainly the younger generation, if we target mainly the students, basically the topics stays. Yeah, they only try to have fun and avoid homework. I think those are, I would say, the secret that we do, and then we continue to do when we develop our company. That's why for 9gag, we have a pretty big audience around the world. The biggest country is US, and then we also have a lot of audience in Europe and also in Southeast Asia. So I would say that that is kind of interesting. It's something that is unexpected for us when we first started the company.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely universal themes that all teenagers are kind of grappling with, for sure. So to that point, are there specific social platforms that really drive your traffic? I mean, obviously Instagram's going to be a huge one for you guys, but are there some that maybe perhaps have surprised you with regards to driving traffic?
Nowadays, when we think about our audience, we don't really think about traffic that much. We think about views, we think about audience instead of, hey, you must go to our website in order to become our user, right? Because these days, it's more about the influence that we have for our users. That's why, hey, we don't really care about whether our Instagram followers go to our website as long as they follow our Instagram, right? And then for Facebook, in the past, I think around 2012, Facebook, they first launched their news feed. And then at that time, that drove a lot of traffic to our website. But along the way, Facebook, they changed the algorithm. And then we started to just put more content on Facebook instead of asking the users to click our link. Yeah, so that would be our evolution over the time. Our principle in building the company and building the influence is we go to where our user is instead of, hey, ask our users to come to our website or app.
Brilliant. So to that point, like, how does your business revenue model work? So, because I saw you have kind of like a Wikipedia kind of biz model where people can donate. So what works, do you think, in your mind? Is it advertising? Is it donation model? Is it subscription? Is it, like you said, views, counts, data? Like, what works for you and how do you make your revenue?
We are having a mix of business model. I would say that right now the biggest portion is on advertising. For example, like ads on the website and then some sponsor posts on our social media account. But we also have subscription. For example, people can pay a little bit of money instead to get a premium account on iGet. And then we also run some events, sell some merchandise. I think we have a mix of model, but I would say the biggest portion is advertising.
Right. Well, there's definitely no joke about your business. You have a very solid business model. With that in mind, how important is data to your business? Because from the outside looking in, it looks like 9gag is kind of more like, you know, an entertainment site, and you think of it kind of like lightweight. But obviously, data. How important, I guess, is my question is making data-informed decisions. Is it integral to your business or the success of any kind of tech startup out there or scale up?
Yeah, generally, I think you mentioned a very important point. I think data is definitely important, right? But instead of thinking about, hey, data driven, we are more like data informed. Yeah, because sometimes for jokes, of course, you can look at the data to decide whether that is a good joke or not. But sometimes you still need some intuition in order to kind of like predict whether that joke is funny. You still need empathy to design a feature, to design a product. That's why I would say data is a very important tool in building our website, in building our product, and also in picking the content. But somehow we still need some human input in order to guide us what is the better direction. Because nowadays there are so many data points that we can collect. There are so many things that we have to analyze. That's why we still need someone to tell us how or which direction that we should go. Yeah, but generally, I would say that data is very important in our business.
Absolutely. And to that point, you know, every business has its risks and challenges, right? You once said at a conference, and I quite like this quote, that the China market is like teenage sex. Everyone talks about it and everyone thinks everyone else is doing it, so everyone does it. So with this mentality in mind, I guess we live in the age of FOMO, the fear of missing out. I guess, like, how have you navigated, like, how you've turned risks and challenges into opportunities? And maybe you have an example you could share with us, perhaps.
I think I wouldn't say it's an example, but it's more like our philosophy in building the business. Basically, it's like it's inspired by Warren Buffett's investment principle. He said that, hey, you have to find out your competence zone or competence circle, so that you understand what are the things that you're good at, and then you just work on those things, right? For example, in our case, without doing much work, our content has spread all over the world. That's why we changed our website from Chinese into English. And then we continue to use English because because from the data, we see that, hey, a lot of younger generation, they understand English because they watch Disney movies, Marvel movies, and then they also watch Netflix, right? That's why those are the things that we feel comfortable and we have confidence that we can do better. That's why we continue to invest in those areas. For example, like for the China market, although I'm a guy based in Hong Kong, I'm a Chinese, but I would say that, hey, I don't really understand the China market that much because there are so many talents in China, and then they have their own culture, they have their own ecosystem. If we don't know it enough, then maybe we just don't touch on it right now. But right now, we can focus on what we are good at, and then we continue to develop features and products for our audience. We also continue to figure out opportunities from our existing demand. For example, we are launching a product called Creator Mart. It's like a marketplace to match creators with advertisers. And then there's a model that we see from our Instagram account, because a lot of creators, they send their content to us, want us to feature them. And then we also have a lot of advertisers to ask us to kind of like fund them creators to create content for them. That's why we look at our existing demand, and we figure out what are the things that we can build to solve the problems. And then I would say that would be a better model, or at least that works for it so far.
Yes, the opportunities that your community brings to you and what they want and delivering on them. Brilliant. So I guess as an entrepreneur founder, there are many avenues available these days for getting funding, mentorship, seeking partnerships even. You mentioned you were part of the 500 startups and Y Incubator. How important, I guess, is it for Chinese startups to get their foot in the door, so to speak, in the US, or at least build relationships there? I think you once said, and I quote again, I've got a few quotes here, that building an internet business is like playing basketball. If you want to play well, no matter how good you are, if in Singapore and Hong Kong, the people don't care. Whereas if you play in the NBA, no matter how bad you are, people think you're the best. So do you think this mentality has changed, or do you think it still exists?
I would say that it depends a lot on your target market. I would say that if you want to build a global business, I think US is a good place to start because they have a lot of talents, they have a lot of mentorship, and Silicon Valley has a pay-it-forward culture, so that people are very open to teach and educate the next generation of startups. That's why there are PayPal mafia, and then there are a lot Facebook mafia, because people who work at very successful startups, they will also invest in some new startups. I would say that that's a very healthy culture that other countries or other places that should learn from, right? But we over the years, we see that in other places, for example, in China and also in Southeast Asia, I think more and more similar ecosystem are building up. That's why whether you go to the US to join an incubator or not, it depends on your target market. If you want to address the China market, then you probably should join a Chinese incubator. If you want to build a Southeast Asia, build on the Southeast Asia market, maybe find an incubator in Southeast Asia. I would say that that would be our so-called adjusted view over time. Yeah.
Brilliant. So one final question before we let you go. What are the advantages of basing your startup? And you guys are a scale up now, no doubt, but out of Hong Kong, other than obviously the international community, the tax benefits, but what ultimately gives, I guess, Hong Kong the edge over other ecosystems around the world?
I was born and raised in Hong Kong. That's why my view is very biased, right? At the time, we had to think about, hey, whether we should move our company to Silicon Valley. Yeah, we decided to stay. The reason was pretty simple indeed. We were very lazy. There are so many questions and challenges when you run your own company. That's why we just pick a place that we are the most comfortable with. And Hong Kong is the place for us. Yeah, but nowadays, given the pandemic and given the rise of remote work or work from home, I would say that the location doesn't really matter that much. But one thing that may help is try to get closer to your user. I think that helps because when you do user testing, you can just go on the street and then go to a cafe and then just ask the people nearby. I think that the location depends a lot on your market and also on what you want to build. Yeah, there are some countries that are more suitable for certain kind of startup. For example, like social media company. Maybe US is a better marketplace to start. But if you want to build something more about infrastructure, maybe India, maybe Indonesia is a better place. So pick the place that you base based on the country that you want to develop in.
Brilliant, brilliant. Look, thank you, Ray. This has been so inspirational to speak to you today. And I hope that everyone got some great info from you. Are there places, if anyone's watching or listening, that they can follow up if they want to get in touch with you directly? Do you use LinkedIn? Do you prefer someone to email you? I don't know if you even like to be contacted, but if you do.
Yeah.
Is there a channel?
Just email me at ray@nike.com. Whether I reply, that's another question. Yeah,
yes,
but you can email me.
Of course. Well, brilliant. And thank you again, and back to Hong Kong.